the overarching idea of our partnership with the Mansours is that it has always been the dream of Right to Dream, and I think since I've been in FC Nordsjælland for the last 5 years, also the dream of FC Nordsjælland, to expand the scope and the quality of the work that we do. So in terms of expanding scope, that's the replication of academies. Replication of academies because we want kids in new markets to get the right to dream, but also for the kids in our existing markets in Denmark and Ghana to get the opportunity to go and experience new places, new cultures, both football and non-football cultures. So expanding the academies is one part of the dream, and the second part of the dream is to increase the quality of the work that we do here at FC Nordsjælland, in terms of the development structures that we have for young players, but also the competitiveness of our first team. So two parts: one, to expand the dream to new markets from an academy perspective, and the second, to increase the quality and competitiveness of our first teams in Kvinde Division and in Superliga. The possibility of the partnership that we've created with the Mansours is really tremendous. I mean, it starts with real physical additions to the model, with top-class academy going into Egypt, a €30 million investment into a right to dream there, a country with a population of 105 million, with very few professional academies in place there. So possibilities there are tremendous. And then the bold move in our partnership to set up a professional women's team in Egypt, which will operate alongside our professional women's team here that we're extremely proud of. The improvements that we'll make in Ghana from an infrastructure perspective, but also from an operational perspective, and the improvements that we'll be able to make here. We're so passionate about the women's project, and I think in these uncertain times, both from a corona but also from a business model perspective for women's football, the fact that we can now really invest deeply into finding the solution and finding the pathways for us, utilizing our girls' academy in Ghana, utilizing a professional women's team in Egypt and here, to create something really special within women's football. And then obviously, our model on men's football is probably the most well known, with what we believe are first-class senior players coming into our model to develop and mentor our young players, and then also the young players that we're bringing through. So I think that when we look at our academies, there's always been this perception that, or there is this perception that it's about players coming from those academies to FCN, which is true. But at the same time, we're really proud about the amount that our Danish players have been able to get from going to Ghana. And now for our Danish players to be able to go to Egypt, and for our Ghanaian players to be able to go to Egypt, this creation of a sort of cultural fusion and cultural integration among multiple cultures to learn, grow and develop is one of the main reasons that we believe our young players are being so successful when they leave FC Nordsjælland. We see with the Andys and the Damsgaards and the Marcuses and the Mathias Jensens and others that they've been really well prepared to be successful in our first team and to go out then into bigger leagues in Europe. So for us, the addition of another site where our players can go and develop is really exciting. And beyond that, FC Nordsjælland has spent many years going to Turkey or to Portugal or to Spain for pre-season. In 2020 we went to Ghana, and now with the facility, which will really be top class in Cairo, we have the opportunity to take our teams to our own homes in other parts of the world to develop our culture and to develop our development environment. So many exciting benefits for us. The dream of the partnership has a few strands to it. The first is that we dream of having Right to Dream academies in many countries around the world. And the Mansour's vision and track record of investing into developing markets and their passion for Africa makes that a great possibility. The second really exciting element for us is that we're so committed to building the whole person and the whole athlete and the purpose-driven athlete. When we look at examples like Marcus Rashford and examples like Juan Mata within football, and on a larger scale, examples like LeBron James, we really believe that we have a key role within the education and creation of socially conscious athletes. I think that there's very few people who have the ability to impact the world like athletes, and so we see the education off the pitch around these social topics to be as important as the education on the pitch around tactical and technical topics. So with Pippa Grange joining us full time and the investments that this partnership allows for the creation of a new people and purpose department within our organization, to really go deeper and accelerate our experiment of building more socially conscious athletes, this partnership is really strong. And we believe that will do a couple of things. Firstly, we think it will attract more interesting players to our club. We see a wonderful purpose-driven athlete like Johan Drew joining our club. And we would like to see more top-class athletes and inspirational leaders like him coming into the club to create the right environment for our young players also to go through our system and to explore their identity, explore their purpose, explore their meaning on a deeper level. Because those things will lead to better success on the pitch for us, better success for our players in their future careers, but also more meaning and happiness within our club, which is very important for us. I think the formal education of our students in Ghana has been well documented, and we have students now at many of the leading universities and have raised many tens of millions of dollars of scholarship revenue for our kids to study and grow, mostly in the States, but also in the UK. And our model in Egypt will be a pretty similar replication of that. I think that there will be some more educational opportunities within Egypt, but also many opportunities in the States. And we hope to see many young Egyptian kids getting into Ivy League universities as well in future. And then in Denmark, our desire to progress the holistic environment continues, and our Hillerød project, which has been well documented to increase the quality and breadth of facilities that we have for our academy, so that we can take more responsibility for the education of our young Danish and Scandinavian players, continues and is obviously reinforced by the resources we have at our disposal through the Mansour partnership. We're extremely proud to be in partnership with the Mansours. When I first got to understand Mohammed Mansour's story, it was inspirational for us. In fact, it is a right to dream story. To start from to face the challenges that he faced early in his career, and to start with a very humble working environment, and to build up to the success that he's been is a big inspiration, and he's a personal inspiration. And then with his son Lutfi, who over the last 2 years specifically has become a good friend of mine, the passion for football, the passion for children and for giving opportunities in places where sometimes they aren't as easy to come by, was something that we really felt from the Mansours. Then beyond that, they said something to me once, which was, when many people thought that we should look west or look east with our investments, we decided to look south from Egypt into sub-Saharan Africa. And the knowledge and track record that they have of investing in sub-Saharan Africa and being successful on scaling things on the African continent was obviously very interesting for us. beyond that, that they were looking and had the potential to buy a Premier League club, and that I think was part of the plan. But it didn't feel right to them. And looking at what we do and the meaning of our organisation was something that I could see resonated with them very quickly as a way of finding greater meaning within football and a stronger purpose as to why invest and get involved in football. So, when you have all the options on the table and you gravitate towards us, I think it's a great indication of your moral compass and your motivation for doing things. So, that energy that they expressed when, quite frankly, they could have gone in any direction was very exciting for us. And then we took a lot of time to build a relationship. They actually made some significant contributions to Right to Dream as early as 2012. But over the last 2 years, when, in fact, because of the relative success of our model to date, we've been inundated with requests or desires to invest into our model. A family who is so grounded in aligned values but has a similar track record and history was very important for us. And one of the things that we found coming to FC Nordsjælland is that the FC Nordsjælland story and the Right to Dream story are very, very similar. The time frames are similar. The challenges that have been faced to start from humble beginnings means that we've been able to come together with FC Nordsjælland and Right to Dream in quite a seamless and smooth way, and sort of now well and truly married and in love. And so one of the things that I've learned when you're looking for partners to scale your vision is what's that track record and what's that history and what's the journey that's been on. And there needs to be synergies and similarities in the journey. And we feel while the Mansour journey is much longer than the Right to Dream or the FC Nordsjælland story, that the experiences and the origins of the journeys are very similar. So that's why we felt so comfortable that they're the right partner for us to scale our ambitions. Right to Dream always felt sort of the injustice of the way that opportunities are spread out around the world, and that in many countries opportunities are so plentiful, and in other places they're not. And so that's always been sort of the burning passion of Right to Dream is to go and create those opportunities in places where they don't exist. And I've spent a lot of time in Egypt now looking at the lack of opportunities and the physical and psychological barriers that prevent children from achieving their dreams. So for us to see that our model has been recognized as really a way forwards, there's been many failed attempts to kind of replicate academies in parts of the developing world by European football. But for our model, which is more holistic, which is focused on the best outcome for the child and the alignment with the national agenda and national objectives of a country, we have replicated many of the things that we created in Ghana here, but also modified the Ghana model by taking many Danish values and best practices into Ghana. So now we have this fusion of two strong footballing and cultural identities that is the new Right to Dream. Right to Dream is no longer a Ghanaian cultural and identity concept. It is a Danish and Ghanaian concept, and that fusion goes into Egypt. And in 2-3 years' time, Right to Dream will be a Danish, Ghanaian, Egyptian fusion of culture, values, and football identity and concept. And then we hope after that to add more countries, and that's the vision of the Mansours and the vision of Right to Dream, that we can expand this further. So it has a very the seed was planted in Ghana. It will always have some of its oldest roots in Ghana and what Ghana stands for, but is now, I like to believe, a successful Ghanaian export brand, which is being adopted and aspired for in other parts of the world. And Egypt, Egypt in terms of what it will add to us, is extremely exciting, because when I was there, I could feel this culture and this ancient richness within the society, which I can't say it in Arabic, but in English it means mother of the earth, and that's like the cradle of civilization. And so for our young Danes and for our young Ghanaians to be going to such an ancient civilization with everything that Egypt has to offer, to grow them as people and to grow them as footballers is for me a remarkable privilege for any young player who gets to start in the academy here in Denmark or the academy in Egypt. I think Ghana will be really proud of the expansion of the academy. Egypt and Ghana have a great rivalry on the pitch, and we have Michael Essien here now in FCN, who played in this sort of historic 6-1 match that was played recently. So I've already been teasing all the Egyptians who are coming on board about Ghana's recent victories. But Egypt are the kings of African football. If you look at wins in the African Cup of Nations, so there's a rivalry, but with the way that we do things in Right to Dream, we know how to turn that into a brotherhood. And so I think that the kids in Ghana will be very proud to see the academy replicated on the African continent. We came to Europe in our second step, but our third step is back into Africa, which will be really proud. And yeah, I think to see those sort of the Kenya star and the logo shining brightly in another part of Africa will make everybody proud. I think the Right to Dream coming to Egypt is really exciting for Egyptian football. We've seen the model that's operating there, and I think that there is a sort of a bottleneck and a barrier to entry for the most underprivileged kids in Egypt to access football. It's actually, ironically, a little bit like the American pay-to-play model, where access to football is sometimes difficult for kids in tough situations. And so, our trial process doesn't charge anything. Our academy doesn't charge anything. It's 100% scholarship. And we will be going to every village and every region of Egypt in our talent identification model. And that's something which is new and unique to the Egyptian football market. And we'll make sure that absolutely the best players in the country, and also the players who are academically extremely strong, which is part of the Right to Dream model, will be gaining access to the Right to Dream Academy. So, as I said already, Egypt are the kings of African football, so they certainly don't need any savior to come in and sort of transform Egyptian football, but what we do want to be is another string to the bow of Egyptian football, and to pay a contribution going into places and markets where maybe the current football infrastructure doesn't reach, and using Mohamed Mansour's vision and his resources to really go deep into every corner of Egypt to pluck out more players who have the potential to become the Mohamed Salahs of the next decade, both on the male and on the female side, which I think is something a little bit unique about our academy approach as well. The vision within our women's project in Egypt stems from our core values, and an opportunity for all is one of the key principles of our organization. So it's actually non-negotiable for Right to Dream to enter a market without significant investment and attention paid to women's football. And in Ghana and here in Denmark, girls come into our academies at 10, 11 years old and start the journey. And in the fully residential academy that we have in Egypt, we're going to tread very carefully in terms of young girls coming into our academy in respect of the culture and the environment that we meet in Egypt. But the Egyptian Women's Premier League has just rebranded and relaunched and is an exciting product. The African Champions League for women has also just been launched. So there's, as we see in Europe and in America, an exciting movement and growth in women's football, and we want to be a part of that. And we want to be a part of that because we want to create a professional team in Egypt that inspires and excites people and people come to watch. But also, our model has always been deeper to support pathways and opportunities and dreams beyond just the dreams on the pitch. So for our female players in the Right to Dream Egypt team, we'll do what we do everywhere else, which is go deeper and look to support longer term dreams and ambitions of our players. I think Right to Dream Academy in Ghana is respected as one of the premier, if not the premier facility on the continent, and that's certainly the benchmark for Right to Dream Egypt. The investment is significant. We'll be located in west of Cairo, and I think that I know that the facility there is going to be at least on a par with the facility in Right to Dream Ghana, and will provide all the opportunities and facilities that are required to develop into a purpose-driven student athlete, and then to follow a pathway to come and play for us here in FC Nordsjælland, whether that be men's or women's, or to go off and study in America and attend one of our partner schools like Hotchkiss or Millbrook, and end up, hopefully in some of the great universities where we've seen our kids now in Stanford and in Georgetown and just recently in Notre Dame and in Duke as well. So so many exciting pathways for our Egyptians to follow. My feeling with Right to Dream is that there's very, very few, if no places where it's not relevant. And I think that even here in Denmark, where there's so much material comfort, I think the questions that we try to ask and pose, and the environments that we try to take our young Danish kids into, makes our concept relevant even in a privileged place like Denmark. So I feel that our model is relevant almost anywhere in the world. But Egypt has some unique reasons for us to be there. The fact that there's a sort of pay-to-play football model in Egypt, meaning that if you do come from more unfortunate circumstances, your access to playing competitive football are really limited. The size of the population, with 100 million there, its track record in football being so great, and then also for us, we're so interested in how do we get the most diverse cultures into the melting pot of the Right to Dream experiment. And so, already blending Scandinavian and West African culture, as we've managed to do successfully, is a significant challenge. But now to bring in the richness and the depth of the North African and predominantly Muslim culture for the rest of our environment to learn, adapt, grow, and develop to new brothers and sisters and a new country, adding its richness into how we want to be and how we want to grow. I think in today's society, the more examples that we can create of cultural understanding and cultural collaboration and success coming from strength in diversity, the better. And so Egypt offers tremendous diversity from what West Africa and Scandinavia offer the Right to Dream experiment. I think the direct benefits for FC Nordsjælland of this partnership are significant. We've obviously seen the talent that's come from Ghana and the difference that's made to our first team here in terms of being a young, exciting team. And in today's world, in football, people are seeing that investment in academy is a really strong way of sustaining a club. So new markets where we can develop players who are developed in our style of play, who are developed with our values and with our philosophy, are only going to strengthen the potential of our first team, and only going to improve the development that we offer to our young Danish players. So Egypt is a great market with a track record of producing great players, and so some of those great players, as we've seen with the Kuduses and with the Mumins and with the Kamal Deans and Clinton Aintrees and others who've come through to our first team here. Egypt will offer that as well, and will offer an even higher standard and an even stronger competition for young players to develop and get into our first team. Beyond that, there's obviously direct investments into FC Nordsjælland, which allow us to be more competitive in the recruitment of young players in the Danish market and in the Scandinavian market. And that's in terms of identification and ability to go and attract young players in, but also now the development experience that we offer to our young players with more destinations around the world to go and experience and grow is only a good thing. So I see it as new pipelines of players coming into FC Nordsjælland and more resources in FC Nordsjælland to strengthen and improve what we already do. I mean, our desire and our dream is to produce the best possible people that we can from our organisation, the best possible players, and we want to be defined by the quality of human beings who come through our club. And we believe that sort of the material success of winning the Superliga or qualifying for Europe or whatever it is will be a byproduct of us striving for the strongest possible culture and the players who are most in touch with their purpose and their meaning. So our ability to invest in more talented players, but to give them a more holistic development, which is what the Mansours offer us here, is really exciting. And so in 10 years' time, we will define ourselves by the perspective and actions that our players and our graduates take in the world. What will also come from that will be more material success on the pitch, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on using this investment to strengthen the culture, to strengthen the environment, and to attract even more talented people and players into the environment here. This is really exciting for FC Nordsjælland, and I don't believe that we are the type of organisation that will place greater emphasis on any one of the elements. I think it's like your own children, where you can't love one more than the other. You all know that they add something to the family, and they bring value, and they bring their own unique perspective and culture and ideas, and that's how we see it. So whether you ended up owning one of the biggest clubs in the world that was winning the Champions League, in our mind, it would have no greater prominence than Right to Dream in Ghana or Right to Dream in Egypt or FC Nordsjælland. So we will never see things in kind of a hierarchical model of what's more important than something else. We look at it in terms of what do you have to add to the concept and the values, and Denmark over the last 5 years has proved like a tremendous amount of richness and wealth that it adds to what we stand for. And so as hopefully as many other things happen, they lead to the growth of FC Nordsjælland, and FC Nordsjælland leads to the growth of them. And so with sort of future clubs or future academies that will be part of our plan, they will never be placed into a hierarchy or a priority. They'll be placed into mutually beneficial relationships between different entities, where everyone feels like they're growing as a result of the exchanges that we create.